Hey there, geeks! We are back with another Wizards Haul video. Mike and I both have some stacks of comics to share, but some of you might actually be here because you were curious about a photo we posted on April Fool's Day. This one, to be clear. Yes. What is Mike doing with Rob Liefeld? How did this come to be? Well, he did attend WonderCon. That was in Anaheim, California. He spent a few weeks there. So we got a lot of stories to get to. But before we do, I'm gonna just get into my quick haul here because I feel like Mike always has the exciting stuff. I have a few things that'll be interesting. So I was visiting some family for the holiday weekend myself, and I ended up at a comic book store that I've been to before, but it's been a couple of years, and they had kind of reformed their location just next door, but in a new setting. And a lot of comics, in my opinion, overpriced. A lot of collectibles, a lot of those things. I'm always there for the dollar bins, so I finally found it after digging around. I'm like, "Where's your dollar bin?" The guy comes up, he's like, "Oh yeah, those are 13 for $10, or a dollar each. So just letting you know." I'm like, "Thank you." So I came for it. So I grabbed a few things. The first was this Wildstorm Presents Planetary. And this is kind of like just like it's got two stories in it where in one they're crossing over with the Authority. So it's kind of like they're behind the scenes while the Authority is doing some stuff. And then the other one is an alternate reality where there is a Bruce Wayne, a Clark Kent, and a Diana Prince who are not officially the Justice League and not officially superheroes, but they have come together to save the world from the Authority and stuff, like, and from Planetary. Like, it's a kind of set in the future. Anyway, this is for like 2011, but we had so much fun talking about Planetary and the Authority recently on the show. I was like, gotta get it. It was
Yeah,
great.
that's a cool find. It's also weird because we talked about how similar the books were.
And so there's something that
Yeah.
maybe they're just going to be in the same world all the time. The other one I grabbed was this Body Doubles special. Body Doubles spun off from Resurrection Man. They were these bounty hunters that were always after the main character there. And I really like the new 52 Resurrection Man. I only bought like two issues. I didn't like it, but I was like, you know what? Maybe it got better later. So they had several in there. So I just started grabbing them, decided,
That
okay,
that cover art, the cover art on the one is awesome.
oh yeah, they have some good stuff here at least. It's very effective. I like this one a lot too. This is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, then also what we've been talking about on the show lately is No Man's Land. So I managed to grab just some single issues of No Man's Land from Shadow of the Bat. I don't know if these are even good parts of the story, but I'll find out when I give them a read. There's one more here, but if Superman's in it, it's going to be interesting, I feel like. So and then what happened was I got up there and I didn't have 10. And so they're like, well, you want to buy 10 or no, what did she say? 10, 13 for 10. She's like, you want to get 13. So I had to go back and grab three more. And so I got some Catwoman No Man's Land books.
How
So
many more do you need?
I just keep buying them. I mean, they're all over
Like,
the place.
how many are there? 40? Is it 40 parts?
Oh, I mean, I feel like there's got to be more than that for
I
how much.
got a check back when we started talking about it. I got a checklist, but it just seemed like way too many.
Yeah. Now, the other thing they had at this store, which was they would take the single issues and put them in collections, and they would have a sticker that said "complete storyline." But these things they're selling them for like $75, $50 for stuff that you would find in a back issue bin, like a 50-cent bin, a quarter bin book. I sent Mike a picture of Spitfire, the new Universe Marvel book, and they wanted like $20 for the entire run. I'm like, no, who are you? But I did have to grab this because this one was only $8. And I looked at it, I'm like, I have no idea what Humankind is, some Top Cow book from the mid 2000s. But the reason I had to grab it is, as you can see right here, there's a Wizard magazine quote promoting it. Which means
Wow.
eventually we're going to get to Wizard saying, this is an awesome book, or this has a great artist, which is really all they're saying because it's Tony Daniel. They're like, Tony Daniel draws amazing women. That's basically what that quote says.
Oh,
So I got the full run of this series, so at least I'll have a point of
that's great.
reference when we get to it. But
I see humankind coming back. It's gonna be huge.
Um, and then last thing here, so previous guest and future guest, I'm sure, on the podcast, Dalibor, the indie hype man. I'm actually going to be on his show here on YouTube, Panels to Pages, this Thursday. When you're seeing this video, you can also go to Panels to Pages. We have a great conversation there. But he is always on the hunt for Wizard magazines when he's out and about, and he's texting me, giving me details. So one of the ones he had that was an extra that we needed was this Tomb Raider special. I don't know if I shared this before or not, but yeah, so we had this one. There were a lot of Top Cow and Tomb Raider specials, like and Tomb Raider covers of Wizard, like they were so in on Lara Croft. But the one he tipped me off to that he just came across randomly, and then I was able to hunt down a copy, is Wizard Extra. This is
I've
a
never even
special
heard of this.
no, exactly. And I don't think most people have. This is from like 2007. What this is, it's not really new. I mean, it's got a few little new elements, but it is the collections of behind the scenes, what they were calling commentaries because DVD commentaries are big. So they do director's commentaries with the writer and artist of these big series of these popular events. And then they would break it down. And so this has like
Cool.
Alex Ross and Jeff Johns and all these different people explaining their big stories that they were writing, but it's just pulled from issues of Wizard, and then they just compiled it into this
That's
collection.
that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's really
We got to
awesome.
talk
So
about that one. Okay.
thanks to Dalibor for tipping us off there. But
Yeah.
that's all I got here. We got to get to what Mike has been up to out in California. WonderCon. I mean, tell me about this, Mike. Had you been before?
I've no, never. I've never. I think I've only been to Canadian conventions in Toronto, so or the Toronto area. So this is new to me, and I was very impressed. Everyone kept saying, "This is San Diego Comic-Con light. Like this is the baby or junior, SDCC junior." And I to me, it was so big. Like I know the big Toronto one's a bit bigger than it, but I was so impressed by how many comic book booths there were. Because like I really find at the Toronto ones, it's getting smaller and smaller, the booths. So, like yes, there's tons of guests in Artist Alley, always in Toronto, but the where you can buy comics from is just it's shrinking. I don't know if you've noticed that at cons at all, Adam,
If
or I
I
know you
went to
don't
a
have
con, I
cons.
might notice it.
You don't know.
I have no cons. I have nowhere to go.
Oh, this is that I don't know how you live. How do you live out there? But the other thing that's amazing is because it's in California, the amount of talent that show up that aren't a part of the con. I think that's what surprised me the most. Or just the podcasters that are there, the people from like websites I've visited, like things like that. That is what, or people that I've seen on social media. I actually didn't bump into any, but I noticed like after the fact, I'm like, oh, I've been following this guy on Threads for like weeks. Turns out he was there, and it was just like the amount of people all coming to one place. And what I love the convention. I had such a great time.
That was very apparent. You were sending me pictures, you're messaging me. I'm like,
Constantly,
"What?
yeah,
And this guy, and this guy. Now, a lot of it you were there to promote or at least connect with the people that you're working on your comic book Armored with, these artists who have
yeah.
done awesome covers. So, who did you run into?
So Adam, if you can, throw up the photo of me and Jae Lee and Hank Canals from Clover Press. So while my main reason, like you said, was to meet Hank at WonderCon, and then Jae Lee was there. So David Mack was there, and I'm sure I've mentioned this. He's doing a cover for Armored as well, which we'll be revealing in a few weeks. So I just got to meet some of the creators that have been a part of Armored. Um, that was in and of itself would have been fine. If I just met them and left, it was great. But I got really lucky, and we're gonna have to do another video maybe next week. But Hank handed me sample copies of Armored while I was there, and he did it right in front of Jae Lee's table. And Jay's like, "Do you want me to sign those?" So he signed all of his covers. I only had a few, but he signed them all. And one of the grading companies, not CGC, the other one, I'm really bad with names, as you all should be aware of this by now if you've been listening to us. It was right across from Jay, so I walked one of the books right over to get graded. I was like, I have to do it, and they looked at Jay like because I didn't have someone there as a witness, and they just looked at him like, you good with this? And they're like, yeah. So
That's
it'll be
awesome. That's hilarious.
authenticated signature and everything. I've never graded a book. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, get this graded.
That
So
that
yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah. No, and the other thing I know is that you had wizard stickers, you had armored.
yeah.
So were you able to pass any out?
Yeah,
Like,
I passed it around to a few people because I would be handing it out to someone, like I'd give it to like someone at a booth, and then someone would be like, "Can I have a sticker?" But the best part was I got to meet other podcasters and people from different websites, and they were most excited about the sticker, Adam. I have to say. So I met Brad from Comic Books Couple Counseling. We have to convince him to come on the podcast because their podcast is fantastic. Him and Lisa. And I met someone from the Geekcast, I believe it's called. Let me just double check it. We'll have to double check at the end. And the Geekly Grind, I met a guy from there, Jeremy. They were just great. It was just so good to connect with other fans, you know? It was just I felt like everyone was really warm and supportive at this convention. I haven't had an experience like it before.
that's so great to hear. Yeah. And I am curious though, because we kind of been teasing this here. And
Yes, this is it. Yeah.
yeah, so this is the big coup de grace of all this. And in fact, there's icing on the cake after this. But you were just on the floor and you sent me a picture, and there is somebody looking through some original art folders, and I'm
So
like, yeah.
so I find a booth where they sell just original art, like pages, and I'm just flipping through because I love original art. I can never afford it, but I love it. And I turn next to me and I hear some guys laughing, and I was like, I know that laugh. And it was Rob Liefeld. I was in shock. But this is the thing about this Anaheim convention. I'm sure SDCC is even more like this. He was just there shopping. He's just such a fan of comic books, and we all know this. Rob is a fan of comics. He lives it, he breathes it. He was just there shopping for pages, I think, you know? And I couldn't resist, Adam. I know you got yourself blocked before I was a co-host. So I'm here to bridge. I'm here to mend things and build bridges. And I just went up to Rob and just told him what a fan I was, and I asked for a photo. And I feel like this is the first step to becoming unblocked by Rob Liefeld. Okay?
This is our new Wizards philosophy, okay? In light of course, recent events, we're not going to get too deep into this, but
Yeah.
we want to be a more harmonious comic book community, right? And
Yes.
we've been having fun with Rob. We always say he came after us. We didn't necessarily come after him to try to upset him, but we seem to do that just by existing. But at this point, I think it's just going to be fun. We are going to be the podcast that loves Rob Liefeld, okay? Anything you hear going forward, it's not going to be snide remarks. We are going to give Rob his due as he comes up in the magazine during our coverage. So that is our promise to you in 2024.
Well, and before before I was on the podcast and before Rob blocked our socials, he was a big part of your podcast. Why I listened, you guys talked endlessly about Rob's work. Like it was kind of, fun to talk about that era. And anyways, let's get into some of my haul because we could talk about this. Oh, really quick. I know you kind of mentioned it, but after I bumped into Rod, I think it was the Saturday, I ended up I was talking to a creator, and next to me, again, was another huge Image Comics creator. It was Todd McFarlane.
I can't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either. He again was not a guest. He was there for a panel, so I guess he was a guest for a panel, but not he did not have a table. He wasn't doing signings. He was just walking the floor, and I happened to be beside him again, and I went up to him and I said, "Todd, again, I am a huge, huge fan. I'd love to get a photo with you." Like his work, one of the first comics on my pull list was Spider-Man. So to be able to meet the man and get a photo, so nice. Both of them were so nice. Rob and Todd, just such generous um, guys, just incredibly generous in person. So whatever their social media personas are, I think in real life they're genuine dudes. But yeah, You throw up the image, Adam. Show the people. And
Uh,
Jae Lee, you guys got to meet Jae Lee too. If you see him at a convention, the sweetest man. All of the image guys, they must all be great. I can't imagine them not being. Okay, so to the hall. I'm gonna start really quick because yesterday I met Jeff Johns, and today is Ghost Machine Day, where all of their comics get released. We got Geiger 1, Rook 1, and Redcoat 1. And then he even threw in this ash can signed by all of the creators.
wow. Yeah. See, I got my little preview bag here,
Nice,
but that's
yes.
cool. Yeah.
So I've had a chance to read all of them, and they're all very, very good books. And I think there's something for everyone. Like I suggest everyone tries all of them, and then you might like all, like me. I want all of the second issues immediately. But I have to say, Redcoat was my favorite. I don't know American history at all. This could be the true history, but this is fun. If you like Highlander and Indiana Jones, this is the book. Anyways, okay. Some other creators I met were I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Fleeks. He did Stray Dogs. He has a new book out called Feral. So this was the Return of the Living Dead homage cover. So I had to grab that. And this book, which is really hot right now, it's called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. It's like Berenstain Bears meets Dexter, or think of any serial killer movie. It's fantastic. And I got this foil cover signed by Patrick Horvath, who's the creator and artist. So that's for the new comics, Adam. Okay, what do you want first? The expensive books, so the $5 and $4 books, or the $1, $2 books?
I want to feel like I could have found these. So show me the $1 and $2 books.
I don't know if anyone could have found these. Okay, so okay, let's start. So we have the first of John Stewart in Green Lantern when he first officially takes over as Green Lantern. Over here, it's a great What If book. I've
Wow,
been
I've never
looking for
seen
this for a
that one.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were again, I don't remember what the prices were, but we're talking $2, $1 bins, or it was like five for $10 or something, so 250. This is just a classic cover. I've never had owned it, so I had to grab it. This one, I love this Bolin cover, classic. And because X-Men 97 is so hot, the first Executioner,
Wow.
still sealed with this. It was just sitting in a bin. I couldn't believe it. Uh, SNL issue of Marvel Team Up. I've been looking for this forever. This edition. I have the other one. This was like in a dollar bin. It was just sitting there. People need to look in the dollar bins. This is not that exciting. I collect Halloween and Christmas comics, so I finally found this Halloween Beavis and Butthead. Mighty Mouse. I
Wow.
don't. I know I showed another Mighty Mouse before, so I couldn't remember if I owned it, but I don't mind grabbing a second one.
Yeah, that's great. I
Uh,
picked up an issue recently that I think I shared, and it's just
okay,
a fun book.
yeah. And then this cover, I love, I love cosplay covers like this. So good.
Have we confirmed that's not Jonathan Frakes' Cap? Because he did have a career for,
Really?
yeah, Riker from Next Generation
I
was
didn't know
one of the
that.
costume Marvel characters as Cap for a couple of years.
Okay. Um, my dad and I are huge fans of the movie The First Men in the Moon. I had no idea they did an adaptation, so I grabbed that. You heard of that movie?
No, I haven't even
Okay,
heard of it.
classic, classic. This was a book I had as a kid, and I have had such a hard time finding it in the cheap bins. I'm so happy I finally got it. I ended up splurging. I think this was $2.50, Adam.
Aunt May becomes the Herald of Galactus.
Yes, yeah. Okay, these were all $2, and I just had to grab them, but they are in bad shape. Like this is almost a white cover at this point.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. But look at that. That's I think it must be like I don't know, third appearance of Professor Zoom or something. $2 for this white cover. Again, I don't know what this issue is, but it just looked awesome. And then this is the first what's his name? Oh my God. The robot character from oh God, I'm drawing a blank. He's gonna
Like,
be in the Creature Commandos
oh, I see. Because I'm
movie
thinking of
from James Gunn.
Junkyard Joe, who's part of the Ghost Machine stuff. And
Well, he really looks like it. So I'm
yeah,
curious to find out what this guy's deal is. I love Junkyard Joe, so this was a cool find. Okay, now we're gonna get into the really expensive stuff. The Ford, I think I have okay, these were all $4 or $5 with a few $3 ones. One being $9, okay? I grabbed some Adventure into Fear Man things. This one in particular is like a big book, and for $4, I wasn't gonna pass it up, and it's in good condition. Eternals one for $3, Adam, but it has a rip right here, but I don't care. First Man Wolf, $4. What? The prices were all over the place at this convention. That was my like at first I was like, these prices suck. Everything's so expensive. But if you really dug, you could find some real gems. And like $4. I don't understand that. And this is one I've been after for a while. Because I have almost a full run of Dazzler, but this was $5. I just had to go
a
for it.
Thriller homage cover,
Yeah.
essentially. That's
And
awesome.
and it's a newsstand, so I was like, I'm going for it. I really, really like Eclipso, the character. And this was a $5 purchase. It's the first appearance on the cover of him. So not his first appearance, but his first cover appearance. And I've been after this one for a while. Again, I love my Christmas comics. This one was so weird looking, and the guy was like, I think it's a department store book or something. So I had to grab it. This was a $5 book, and it's been one I've wanted for a long time. It is the first appearance of Herbie.
Oh,
Yeah, even the guy I bought it from was like, "This was a good find. You did well here." Okay, now the next two are related to our show because we just reviewed this issue, Adam. It is the Clayface issue.
you got it. All right.
Yes. I'm sure I could have found it in 50 cent bin eventually, but I had to jump on it. I loved it so much. But then I splurged and bought this for $5. It's his first appearance.
Oh, you got it.
I
Yeah.
got it. Yes, yes. So this was fun to find. And then
Clayface 2, man. He's the one.
yes. Um and this one I actually got a discount on, but I'm sure it would have been like $5 or something. But it was regular 9. It's the first time Hal Jordan and Barry Allen meet. And look at it, signed by Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
And look at he even added a little bit because the art just didn't seem right, so he had to add a bit. But again, I'm always after these early Flash and Green Lantern books because they're two of my favorites. So that's it. I got even more, just so you know. This was just I just picked out what I thought would be the most interesting. So if any of you are curious to see the full lot, I will post that on 50 Cent Comic Collector, and Adam can share it on the Wizards accounts too.
Absolutely. And we'll be back for another haul video. Plenty more to see. But yeah, Mike, thanks for sharing those stories and those photos. Cause man, what an adventure. I went around Anaheim. That's where I bought my comics growing up. Like I just went to all the different comic stores in Anaheim and none of them exist anymore. So it makes me so happy that there's a convention in Anaheim now where everybody's, congregating and having those great vibes there. So I'm glad to hear it. But we want you to stay connected with us here on Wizards, the podcast guide to comics on YouTube. So subscribe. Give us your comments down below if anything got you excited as you said that you saw at our halls. Of course, we want you to check out the podcast where we cover every issue of Wizard Magazine, including the specials and everything else, like I was sharing there. So you can find us at wizardscomics.com if you want to check out over 260 episodes, a huge back catalog with interviews with people who made Wizard Magazine, comic book creators who appeared in Wizard, but also just our in-depth coverage, lots of fun conversations. Of course, you can also find us on your favorite podcast or anything there. If you want to check us out on social media, just to find out what's going on next, find us at Wizards Comics on all the socials. Did want to just mention that recently we have our Patreon for $5 a month at patreon.com/Wizards Comics, where you can get exclusive podcasts in addition to like scans of the issues and early release uncut episodes. But we recently unlocked from the vault on Patreon our review of Batman and Robin, which was so fun because we actually got every past and current host of Wizards together, and we had a great conversation. Nobody wanted to miss this one, and it's free now for everybody to listen to. But if you like what you're hearing there, you can head over to Patreon as well and get more of that. So anyway, thank you so much for checking out this video. We'll be back soon. But until next time, keep your books bagged and boarded.